Welcome. Now let's begin by telling you that the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, also known as SERAP, has called on the federal government to end its alleged crackdown of citizens from the nation's human rights community. SERAP, via a statement, made this known following an alleged invasion of its Abuja office by personnel of the Department of State Services, saying its staff were allegedly harassed and intimidated by personnel of the secret police. SERAP, via a statement signed by its Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, warned that if the crackdown is not ceased immediately, it will take appropriate legal action both nationally and internationally to challenge the brutal crackdown by government and hold the authorities to account for their constitutional and international human rights obligations. Our Abuja Bureau Chief Amadin Uyi is at the SERAP Abuja office and gives us more update. Over to you now, Amadin. Amadin, good afternoon. Amadin, I'm hoping that you can hear us. We've asked that you tell us exactly what's happening there at as the situation progresses in Abuja. Please, if you'll give us more information regarding the SERAP issue.
First of all, I would like to establish that I'm standing just by number 18 Bamako Street at the Wuse Zone 1 area of Abuja. This is the SERAP Abuja office. Earlier today at around 5 minutes past 11 a.m., personnel of the Department of State Services visited this office while its staff were on their duties working from within the confines of this facility. Now, the DSS had requested to see the directors of SERAP on ground. Fortunately, none of them were available, so the DSS could not hold any of them or arrest any of them. And the DSS went, according to staff of SERAP, the DSS went on to question other members of staff before they left. Now, the staff became visibly shaken, and the moment the DSS left, they had to stop work for the day and closed office for the day.
Well, thank you very much, Amadin. That's all we can take for now, but we'll be coming back to you momentarily, perhaps maybe to get more information. Thank you very much, Amadin Uyi. The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has condemned what it termed the brazen and illegal detention of its president, Comrade Joe Ajaero, by the Nigerian authorities without any legal warrant or justification. In a communique issued after an emergency meeting of the National Administrative Council, the NLC described Ajaero's detention as an affront to workers' rights and a violation of democratic principles, including freedom of movement and expression. The NLC demanded Ajaero's immediate and unconditional release before midnight today and called for an immediate reversal of the current petrol price hike to 617 naira per litre. The Congress also placed all affiliate state councils, civil society allies and the Nigerian public on high alert, stating that Ajaero's detention is a deliberate attempt to undermine the implementation of the new national minimum wage. An emergency National Executive Council meeting has been summoned for 9 a.m. on Tuesday, September 10, 2024, to determine the next steps to counter what it describes as actions against the interests of Nigerian workers. Earlier, NLC Head of Public Relations Benson Upa spoke to News Central, and this is what he had to say.
Appalled, we're outraged by this relentless act of repression by the state. We're in a closed-door meeting this very moment. At the end of the meeting, what our response shall be will be made public. We have demanded for his immediate and unconditional release from detention. We have also demanded that this act of repression being perpetrated under the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu should stop. They cannot cow Nigerians. Nigerians have a robust spirit. We are very nice people. Our niceness, our goodness should not be abused by this government. Finally, take note of this poem. When they came for the Jews, I said I was not a Jew. When they came for the teachers, I said I was not a teacher. When they came for the merchants, I said I was not a merchant. By the time they came for me, there was no one left to cry for me. Take note. Thank you.
And now our correspondent Joshua Marai joins us now for more updates on the situation. Joshua, good afternoon. Thank you for joining.
It's a pleasure, Mazino.
Good. So if you can share with us what transpired following the meeting with the boss there. Let's know exactly what's happened since after.
Can you come again? I really hear you. I can barely hear you.
I'm asking for details about what's happened since after that little interview there with Benson Upa. Has anything transpired? Has the Labour Congress decided perhaps maybe on another move?
Well, according to the communique issued here, no move has been made, but
Joshua, if you can hear us, you can continue because we lost you there for a minute.
Earlier, and they termed it as an attempt to suppress the union and an attempt to stifle the union's voice, and which they condemned outrightly, saying that this would not be tolerated. And they also placed their members and their affiliate organization as well as CSOs on high alert. And what they said was that they'll be meeting first thing tomorrow morning by 9 a.m. for a national emergency meeting where they'll be communicating with their affiliates, their members, and as well as organizations under them to see the next point of actions that they will take. So that's what we have for now. But we'll be keeping in touch with them to see the further updates they have concerning this situation.
Well, thank you very much, Joshua Marai. We'll come back to you for more details as the evening goes. Now, family members and residents of Sabon Birni, the official palace of the slain Emir of Gorber, Issa Mohammed Bawa, have called for justice over his murder by bandits. Now, this was as they met with News Central's television crew who had visited to get more details around the circumstances surrounding his abduction and subsequent killing by bandits. The Emir of Gorber was kidnapped and murdered by bandits on his way home to Sabon Birni after attending a meeting in Sokoto.
And the people of Samilo Hagaman are proud with him because he loved people and he loves his family. But always he can advise us. We can sit well with everybody. If you handle your people, if you let your people, you can care about with you in your life. So I can never remember this word in my life. The time is that people are kidnapping him. He told me, Ibrahim, is it here I want to remember me? I said, no. So why you cannot bring them in the morning and leave this place? I told the people, we don't have that money they can demand them with us. He's talking about 1 billion naira. We tell them, I don't have all, even my life, I never see 1 billion naira in my life. So that word I cannot remember with him. And Sariki, before he become a chief or emir of Sambeni, before he's a village head of Ngwalale, as you know.
And now joining us live from Sokoto is News Central's Emanuel Bagudu. Hello, Emanuel. Good evening. And please, if you can go ahead and give us details of your visit to Sabon Birni.
Yes, it was a very emotional visit. Of course, 170 kilometers journey from Sokoto City Center up to Sabon Birni local government, a border community, just a few miles to Niger Republic. I mean, it was so emotional. Community members are still mourning and, of course, demanding for justice for their slain emir. Of course, the Gobir Emirate is a very, very large emirate, a very, very significant emirate. And Emir Issa Bawa is the 381st emir of Gobir. And so his assassination, or rather his killing, was actually so embarrassing. Has a lot of eyebrow to raise, because of course the Gobir Emirates have spread up to Agadez in Niger Republic, and the reactions are so massive. Yeah.
How far this place is from the Sokoto capital? Now from Sokoto to this place where his abduction happened. What's the security situation like?
Yes, a very, very unfortunate security situation. You can visibly see an exodus of community members who are being ransacked by bandits, packing up from the villages coming into the local government headquarters. That particular area is comprising of Isa local government and then Sabon local government. So the only place that is considered to be relatively safe is the headquarters of the local government. So the adjoining villages, that surrounds the headquarters of the local government is being controlled by bandits as I speak. All the secondary schools and all the primary schools in Sabon local government is currently hosting internally displaced persons. Community members ran away from villages and they came and they are settling in those secondary schools and then some kind of places, makeshift camps within Sabon and Isa local government, which is so embarrassing. And the government of Sokoto and government of Nigeria must take courage and fight these guys and then nip this problem in the bud once and for all. So the security situation in that place is so terrific and needs to be amplified at all means. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Then, Emmanuel, will be getting more information from you. Thank you indeed. Now we're going to go on a break, and when we come back, very interesting. Labour Party's power struggle. Julius Abur says no automatic ticket for any contestant. When we get back from this break. The embattled national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abur, has announced that the party's presidential ticket for the 2027 election is no longer reversed for its former candidate, Peter Obi, or rather reserved for its former candidate, Peter Obi. Speaking at a press briefing following the party's National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja on Monday, Abur stated that the 2027 presidential ticket is now open to all members of the party. Abur also dismissed the possibility of an automatic second-term ticket for Abia State Governor Alex Otti, emphasizing that the seat will be contested by other aspirants. He further clarified that Governor Otti does not have the authority to convene a stakeholders meeting that led to the formation of a caretaker committee chaired by former Senator Nenadi Usman. Abur asserted that no governor has the power to remove the National Working Committee or dissolve state and local government councils, stating that the Labour Party will not be intimidated out of office. And after nearly 3 decades of reliance on imported fuel, Nigeria is on the cusp of a new era in oil production. The Danga Refinery is set to begin selling petrol in the local market, marking a significant milestone in the country's journeys toward energy self-sufficiency. But as the refinery gears up for its debut, questions linger about the impact on fuel prices, monopoly concerns, and the future of the oil sector. News Central's Adeshawa Odushoga reports.
On September 15, the Dangote Refinery is expected to commence the sale of petrol in the Nigerian market. It's the first time in 28 years that the country will be refining its crude oil. Nigerians expect that having a local refinery will translate to cheaper fuel, but NNPC says there is no guarantee of lower prices associated with domestic refining of the product in the country, and this includes the Dangote Refinery. Although fears of monopoly had been raised on the side of the federal government, and for Dangote, it's the fear of the price control. But analysts says the concept of price control negates the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act, which was clear about the deregulation of the oil sector.
Provisions of the PIA made it so clear that we should be experiencing full deregulation following the PIA. Because if we are implementing the PIA to its fullness, these two fears could have been eliminated. That's to say, in a full deregulated economy, there won't be anything called price control.
In the first place, NNPC is not a regulator. So that's why I'm sort of baffled about Dangote talking about prices and prices having to come from NNPC. It never was even the price regulator for the industry at all. Pricing was PPPRA.
With the rising prices of oil in the global market and the value of the naira against the dollar in an import-dependent oil sector, the pricing of petrol from Dangote Refinery has become a topic of debate. Earlier in the year, a Nigerian lawmaker, James Falike, had posited that Nigeria's $48 per barrel crude production cost is the highest in the world compared to Saudi Arabia, where these only cost $9. This has raised eyebrows as a likely factor that will affect the price of petrol from the refinery, even as it is locally produced.
Prices of any commodity to the benefit of consumers should be determined by level of competition. Record have it that there is no sector that has been able to combat or to withstand intensive competition by Dangote PLC. So, if we want Nigerian citizens or consumers of petroleum products to have the benefit of it or the value for this commodity, it should be that there should be a competition in this sector.
We have had a constantly malfunctioning downstream, and we have had this subsidization for a long time. But the subsidy has been there to cover even things that should not be there.
Nigeria, which consumes about 66 million litres of petrol daily on average, currently spends a huge chunk of its budget exceeding $10 billion by some estimates on the importation of the road fuel every year. While a local refinery should translate to a breakthrough from years of import-dependent oil sector, the outcome of this pricing system remains uncertain. In Lagos, for News Central, Adeshawa Dushoga.
In the meantime, oil marketers may soon begin importing petrol after the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC, announced it would only purchase from Dangote Petroleum Refinery if market prices exceed local pump prices. NNPC clarified that Dangote and other domestic refineries could sell directly to marketers on a willing buyer, willing seller basis, stating it does not aim to be the sole distributor. This contrasts the Dangote Group President Aliko Dangote's recent statements that NNPC would be the refinery's only domestic off-taker. Marketers say they will source petrol wherever it is cheaper, including imports. Mustafa Zamar of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association indicated they may contact Dangote this week to check prices, confirming the government will not intervene in pricing. And now to discuss this, we are joined by development economist Nemeka Obiari. You're welcome, sir. Good to have you here this evening. So, sir, we'd like to know, what are the potential consequences of delay? Hello, sir. Can you hear us? Unfortunately, I think we have lost connection with our guest this evening. We'll try and bring him back to you. We're going to move on to other news happening this hour. Now, still on the hike in petrol, over 1,000 commercial motorcycle riders, also known as Okada riders in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria, are beneficiaries of a free premium motor spirit initiative to help cushion the impact of the high cost on their businesses. The distribution, which is part of an initiative of a non-governmental organization to alleviate poverty and empower citizens, was also a way to encourage them and put smiles on their faces. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, completes this report. Well, a report subsequently. Do stick around for that one. To more security stories now. Suspected bandits abducted 2 nurses and an unknown number of patients from the primary healthcare center in Kuyalo, Berenim Gwari local government area of Kaduna State, in an attack on Monday. Now, according to reports, the gunmen, who were in large numbers, initially targeted the nearby government day secondary school around 9 a.m., but redirected their attack to the healthcare facility after finding the school empty. Musa Al-Hassan, a local vigilante leader, stated that the attackers intended to kidnap students but resorted to abducting healthcare workers and patients when no one was found at the school. This incident comes just days after a similar bandit attack in Kaduna State, with no official statement from the government yet on the latest abductions. In more news to health matters, As Nigeria and some other countries in Africa battle to curb diseases emanating from filthy environments, members of the public have been urged to prioritize cleanliness in their various communities. This was stated by stakeholders during the community service embarked upon by members of the Plateau State chapter of the Nigeria Union of Journalists as they mark the 2024 NUJ Week. News Central's Chizoba Nyonwe tells us more.
As it kicked off its 2024 press week, the NUJ in Plateau State decided to begin with this charitable act of partnering the state government to sensitize the public on the significance of a clean environment. Members took a walk from the press center through the popular UTC junction and rounded up at the Jos City Center where the community service took place.
And so our coming out today is to reinforce the fact that Plateau should be clean, that our environment should be clean, that we want to see Plateau return back to its lost glory as the home of peace and tourism. We cannot say we are a tourist state where we see death everywhere on our streets.
Proper waste management is important in any environment, and the need for more hands to be on deck to ensure a healthier society cannot be overemphasized.
We have different ways of managing this waste. The one way is to be managed in a sanitary manner to the final disposal site. Kudos to NUJ, you really give us a support in order to evacuate this waste in a sanitary manner.
Acts such as this will go a long way to spur behavioral changes that would help ensure the environment is kept clean.
We have had a series of outbreaks of communicable disease. All of these diseases are associated with human waste. In fact, behavioral change it has become a very key to the agency, and I think this is one of the aspects that you people have really assisted us. So I will give you applause for that partnership.
No matter the obstacles you are going through, no matter whatever problem, particularly in terms of agreeing with the populace, we charge you to ensure that the right things are done. By this, we can actually make Plateau State indeed the home of peace and tourism.
Indeed, the benefits of a clean environment cannot be overemphasized, particularly for a state like Plateau, which prides itself as the home of peace and tourism. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyonwe.
At the 25th National Annual General Meeting and Scientific Conference of the Islamic Medical Association of Nigeria held in Maiduguri, experts have called for healthcare providers to enhance their emotional intelligence. This formed part of the communique emphasizing that fostering empathy and understanding in patients' interactions could significantly improve treatment outcomes and patient satisfaction amidst the economic downturn. News Central's Umaru Kirawa reports that this shift aims to address the increasing need for holistic approaches in healthcare. They stress that addressing the emotional and mental health of healthcare workers is essential for maintaining effective and compassionate patient care.
Government at all levels should prioritize enhancing security and economic empowerment to alleviate the impact of the ongoing global economic crisis and insecurity. Secondly, healthcare providers should prioritize emotional intelligence through training, role modeling, mentorship, and the creation of supportive work environments. Thirdly, government and healthcare professionals must develop new models to improve Nigeria's preparedness for emerging and re-emerging diseases.
Away from that, Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on National Security, Satomi Ahmed, says the National Assembly will allocate significant funds in the 2025 upcoming budget to support the Almajiri population. This initiative aims to address the underlying social issues contributing to insecurity by providing resources for tracking, identifying and supporting these vulnerable children. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes this report.
A smile by this child amidst the resilience of not knowing when and how to get food on the street of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. These children wandered the street in search of food and other support from individuals in the metropolis, a retrogressive narrative that News Central keeps reporting in search of an action.
The National Assembly, under the able leadership of His Excellency Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, is determined to provide funds in the 2025 budget for the Almajiri and out-of-school children in line with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. If we get the out-of-school children back on board, definitely the crisis, the chaotic issues, they are the potential scouters by the bandit insurgency Boko Haram. An idle mind is a devil's workshop. It's an enlightened interest of the government to engage them, to call them, to put them into and use and utilize them in all aspects of life, in all aspects, ramification of discharge of this country. Without engaging the out-of-school children, definitely there is no way we can solve the insecurity. By extension, insecurity is not only taking of arms. No, leaving your own children doing nothing is a catastrophe and it's a disaster in future. So therefore, we will work towards that, not only working on the present out-of-school children, we will go even into the health sector to control the birth system, where parents that are giving birth to children that they cannot cater and care for.
The chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on National Security flagged off the disbursement of 20 million naira scholarship to vulnerable students of Jeri and urged them to volunteer as teachers to help in their nearby areas.
I should advise our government to continue with this kind of programs and to create even more of this so that it will help the less privileged ones to pursue their studies. And again, also those that are affected by the insurgencies, they should not be feel ashamed or they should not feel less privileged to continue or even poverty or something to prevent them from studying or from furthering their educations.
He needs to help us, we the youths that we are in school, so that we can be able to have an access to the school and we can be able to afford some materials and then further our education in the future.
Mitigating the insecurity bedeviling the region and Nigeria as a whole seems to require an effective mechanism to tackle the social factors that contribute to the problem. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
The news continues in West Africa, where at least 16 people have been killed and 22 others injured in a tragic collision between a bus and a lorry in central Senegal early Monday morning. The fire brigade speaker, speaking to journalists, confirmed that the accident occurred around 6 a.m. local time near the village of Ndangalma. Road accidents are a frequent occurrence in Senegal, often attributed to the poor condition of roads and vehicles, reckless driving, and corruption among officials responsible for law enforcement and issuing driver's licenses. In response to a recent surge in road accidents, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, his government promised concerted action. In August, Transport Minister El Malik Ndiaye announced that roadside checks would be intensified and penalties increased. And as the Kenyan former opposition leader Raila Odinga is selecting his main allies, my apologies, as he's selecting his main allies in West and Central Africa with a view to securing the support of state in the region, the divisions between candidates of French-speaking countries could work in his favor. With just a few months until the election of the next African Union chairperson, Kenya officially announced Raila Odinga as its candidate. However, there are mixed reactions to as the youth are calling for a youthful candidate to take over the chair. Meanwhile, Odinga faces stiff competition from candidates from Djibouti, Mauritania, Madagascar, who are widely seen as his strongest rivals. And now to discuss this, we are joined by Research Associate, Durban University of Technology, Dr. Omololu Fagwederu. You're welcome, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very fine. Good evening. Now, would like to know the historic context surrounding Raila Odinga's political career and how does it influence perceptions of his candidacy for the AU chair?
Yeah, Raila Odinga has been a veteran of Kenyan politics. And the other side of it is that Odinga has been a controversial politician in Kenya. though he's been a veteran for a long time, seeking to be the president of Kenya. Between 2008 and 2013, he was the prime minister of Kenya. But the election violence that characterized previous Kenya elections have been attributed to his intransigency and his insistence of becoming the president of Kenya. So as such, his name has been tainted somehow in terms of political stability in Kenya. Yes, the last election in Kenya, he lost to Ruto, even though the former president supported him against Ruto. Ruto happened to be his former deputy. So he's been found in that kind of controversy, and I think that has been a trail after him, looking at him as a person, to what extent has he promoted peace in Kenya, especially in terms of democratic stability in a country that has been characterized by various violence. So these historical antecedents may work against him if he has stronger opposition, and as we have it right now, the popularity is not all that there in terms of his antecedents in Kenyan politics.
Okay, let's talk about the youth in Kenya. We've seen them plenty in the news recently, especially when it comes to dissent, speaking out. So regarding this situation right now, Odinga, what specific concerns have young Africans expressed regarding the leadership of older politicians like Raila Odinga?
Well, the greatest problem we have in Africa today is the idea of having octogenarian as our leaders, whereas we have vibrant and younger people who could really handle the affairs of the nations. But on the other hand, we look at it, are we looking at leadership in terms of age, or we are looking at it in terms of capability and desire or intention? That's one thing we need to look at, because we've seen younger people in government and they are failing. They are failing. They are not. We can't see. You cannot pinpoint specifically on some leaders who are young in government that have performed exceptionally well. We see Ruto in Kenya as we have him now. People thought that because he's young, he could be a better option than Odinga. And we see in other African countries where we have younger people in ministries, as ministers, as advisors, they are performing woefully. So are we looking at performance in terms because of age, or we are looking at it in terms of capability of the individual? I don't want to see that. I don't want to join the argument of maybe this will give the youth the chance. It's not a matter of giving them the chance. Barack Obama became the president of America at the age of 46 or so. He didn't. It was not by concession, but they saw the capability in him. They saw the ability in him to lead the most powerful nation in the world, and he did for 8 years without failing. So in Africa, we should stop talking about let the elderly one leave the space for the younger ones. No, if the younger ones present themselves as a better alternatives, why not? People will take the bet. Unfortunately, the younger African people, they are following the steps of the elderly ones. You find them in government performing poorly in terms of mismanagement of the economy and all the rest. So if we are looking at that, we cannot pinpointly say that, okay, well, Raila Odinga because of his age. No, let's put that one aside. Let's talk more about the capability of this man. Is he capable in terms of integrity, in terms of his disposition? Is he capable to lead AAU as the chairman of the AAU Commission?
Father Debo, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, the Princess of Wales on Monday announced that she has completed her chemotherapy treatment and will be undertaking a light schedule of engagements until the end of the year. Now, Catherine made this known as she delivered her message via voiceover on the video, now which was filmed in several locations in the east of England. The princess thanked people for the support she and her family received and added that her path to healing and full recovery is long and she'll continue to take each day as it comes. And for more on this, I'm joined by international correspondent Afia Hagen. Afia, good evening. Good to have you here. So Afia, please, what were the main takeaways from this video released by Kensington Palace?
Well, the main takeaways are certainly that the Princess of Wales has been through a hell of a journey in this past 9 months. She said that the road she has been on has been scary and it has been unpredictable. But she also lends us a word of caution, to be honest. You know, she's saying that she's working and her focus is being on cancer-free. She doesn't say that she is cancer-free, even though the chemotherapy has come to an end. And it's also very clear that this video is all about family. It's all about the impact that this has had on herself, on her husband, the Prince of Wales, and of course their 3 children, George, Louis and Charlotte. And you do see her parents, Carol and Michael Middleton, in that video as well. And we don't often see them in this kind of setting, looking very relaxed with the children. And they're all looking very relaxed in this video. And let's be honest, this is a very slick, very well produced piece of film. This is by Will War, who's worked with the family before. Very slickly done. And of course, all these videos, photographs, whatever they are, they go into the Royal Archive. This is something that will live beyond them. So I think one of the main takeaways we can take from this as well is that this is kind of the new face of the royal family. This is what we can expect from, remember, this is our future king and queen going forward.
Afia, now you said it yourself. You said that this is something new. Normally, family is not something that the royals will put forward in any kind of communication. So what's this signaling? Is this showing a new direction for the royals?
Absolutely, I think it is. I think this is sort of the royal family responding to what has happened over the past 9 months. And when we had the announcement that Princess of Wales was having abdominal surgery, and also that the king had an enlarged prostate, then he had cancer, then she was having preventative chemotherapy. Although we were getting some information, we weren't getting everything. Conspiracy theories spawned, you had the photoshopped picture, and I think what a lot of people wanted was an age of transparency from the royal family. And I think this is what they are attempting to give us. By the Prince and Princess of Wales kind of taking control of the narrative and releasing this video, which shows the 2 of them together, the Prince and Princess of Wales, because there has been rumors about the relationship. And it shows them as a family because there's been rumors about the family. And it
Unfortunately, we've lost Afia there, but I'm sure we'll get her back other time to tell us more. Now on to more news. A few dozen protesters staged a rally outside Beirut's Justice Palace as Lebanon's ex-central bank chief Riyad Salameh arrived to attend a hearing of embezzlement allegations. The investigating judge issued a formal arrest warrant for Salameh days after he was taken into custody. Salameh, who headed the central bank for 3 decades, charges including embezzlement, money laundering and tax evasion in separate probes in crisis-hit Lebanon and also abroad.
شكوك كثيرة تحوم حول القضاء، نحن بدنا قضاء نظيف. بدنا نشوف هالقضاء بده يضل ماشي مزبوط ويحاكم الظالم وينصر المظلوم، والله بده يضل مثل من 5 سنين المظلوم عم ياكلها والظالم عايش مرتاح. ومش وحده رياض سلامة هو العامل هاي الحفلة كلها سوا. هو كان المنسق الأول، إيه أوكي. بس في كتير معه. في أصحاب بنوكي لازم
Business now, Danga Refinery may need to consider exporting its premium motor spirit, that's petrol, after the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited decided not to be the sole buyer of its fuel. In a statement on Saturday, NNPC Limited spokesperson Olufemi Suneye indicated that the company would only purchase fuel from Dangote if it is priced lower than available global market rates. Aliko Dangote, president of the Dangote Group, mentioned that the refinery was awaiting product release from NNPC Limited, which he claims is not accurate. During a segment on Business Edge, economist Kelvin Emanuel shared his insight on NNPCL's position that the company would only buy petrol from the Danga Refinery if its prices are higher than the prevailing pump prices in Nigeria.
17 in Abuja is anywhere between 565 and 585 in Lagos. NNPC is applying between 500 and 600 naira in under recovery per litre of petrol, which they say is FX differential. Yeah. What is the landing cost of petrol to Nigeria? Substandard petrol, by the way. What's the international benchmark for the cost of petrol for gasoline? In Accra, gasoline goes for between $1.30 and $1.50 per litre. And you can take your guess in different parts of different markets all over the world. So the question we have to ask is, number one, what price are they offering crude oil feedstock to the Dangote Refinery? Are they offering a discount? No, they are not offering a discount, number one. Number two, what is the landing cost of PMS per litre, substandard PMS per litre to Nigeria for the petrol that is brought into Nigeria? That's the question we have to ask. NNPC says that they want a deregulated market, but the same NNPC has asked their terminals to send a new pricing template in Abuja. The new pricing template for NNPC petrol stations, it's 897 naira per litre. In Lagos, it's about 855 naira per litre. The same NNPC that is talking about deregulation, according to sections 205 and section 206 of the Petroleum Industry Act, has raised the price and is still setting the price and regulating the price of PMS across Nigeria. So does it make sense that the NNPC in one way is saying that they want a deregulated market, but it's still regulating the market?
Now we take a short break. We've got sports coming up after. Now sports. The Great Britain team returned from the 2024 Paralympics in Paris on Monday, having finished second in the medals table behind China with 124 medals, including 49 gold, 44 silver and 31 bronze, with 8 more gold medals than the last games in Tokyo in 2021. Multiple gold medalists Dame Sarah Story, Alice Tai and Macy Summers Newton were among those who arrived. It's the third games in a row that Great Britain and Northern Ireland have finished second in the table, and is its highest medal haul since Rio in 2016. And that's all this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories we brought to you. Department of State Service has taken over Abuja office of the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project. Nigeria Labour Congress has vowed to resist oppression amidst Georgia's detention. And also we told you that bus-lorry collision has claimed 16 lives and injured 22 in central Senegal. Remember to send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on the screen now. And do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422 Star Times, channel 274 Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino. Appeal.